All right. I'm going to sing a song called Glorious. It's been a while since we've done it, but it's fun. It's really fun. So once we get those lyrics up there, and we're going to sing it through 2 times, but I'm going to play it through 1 time for you so you can hear it. Okay? And then if you'd like to stand up, get the energy flowing. And some of the words on this are real fast, so, be ready with that tongue. Nice job.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful day out, isn't it? A lovely day to sneeze and sneeze and sneeze and sneeze. I sneezed more yesterday than I thought a human could sneeze. Okay, so my name is Tracy and I'm a member of the board here, and I want to welcome you to Unity Spiritual Life Center. And thank you for sharing your Sunday morning with us. Here at Unity, we honor wherever you are on your spiritual path, knowing that we are all part of the one power and presence of God. If you're here for your first time, we offer a special welcome to you. Guest packets are available if you'd like to know more about us. And we invite you to join us after the service for refreshments and hauling stuff upstairs, if I understand things correctly. We're going to have our prayer partners center us in prayer. And then I think also like the candle.
Good morning. My name is Sandy and I'm your prayer partner today. So in between taking stuff upstairs, if you have a need for prayer request, like, oh my God, I've heard it doing all that, please see me or Barb or Marilyn. Any of the 3 of us would be happy to pray with you. I'd like this Christ candle to remind us of the Christ light burning within each of us. Now, if you'll join me in prayer, Divine Spirit, thank you for this beautiful morning, this gorgeous day, the trees and the flowers, the words of wisdom we shall hear today. We ask that we find that nugget of truth for each of us. Again, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you, God. Amen.
Word for today, inner peace. Let us affirm, peace grows within me as I remain centered in God. And now, allow these words to be your words. Inner peace, the peace of God that my words can only begin to describe, does not depend on outer circumstances. Peace does not come from any external source. It arises from within me. At a place in consciousness, sometimes called the center of my being, peace, like all the qualities of God, waits for me to recognize and claim it. I claim inner peace when I remember the truth that God's presence is always with me and within me. As I center my awareness in the divine presence within, peace soothes my feelings and restores order to my thoughts. I move through all circumstances with calm assurance. Peace grows within me as I remain centered in God. Every event of my day contributes to the calm peace of my mind. From Isaiah 26:3, we read, "Those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you." Our blessing for today, inner peace. Peace grows within me as I remain centered in God.
Taking a moment, getting comfortable in our chair, trusting the foundation of where we are right now. That foundation of inner peace. We focus on our breath, shifting our awareness to the right now moment. Feeling the breath coming in through our nose and across our sinuses, into that lower diaphragm, filling into the chest. We let go of all stress, all expectations and resentments of things that we can't control. While we take care and control of what we can, which is our inner peace. Exhaling effortlessly through our mouth, letting go of that experience that no longer serves us. Preparing for that next right now moment where we can take that life breath. We're calm, we're present. We breathe in health, happiness, and abundance. We let go and we trust. We relax the muscles in our face. Find that comfortable, self-supporting position where we can focus on that right now moment. Knowing that's all that ever exists is right now. And that's where we have power. We have power to shift our perspective, to shape our beliefs, and to initiate change into our life however we see. Nice deep breath in and letting go. Two more of those. Nice deep breath in. Centering our awareness right here, right now. And the final breath. And letting go. Returning to this room, but maintaining that meditative space. Bringing up our purpose. Breaths.
We have a prayer request this morning from Leslie for Beth, who has a 3-month-old son who's having a problem with neuroblastoma. So we're gonna pray for this little boy and see him completely and totally healed, that he can walk when it's time, that he can crawl, he can sit up and do all the things a baby's supposed to do. So we see him whole and well. And if there's anyone on your mind today is coming to your mind because they need prayer, just softly speak their name into the space. And don't forget your own name. Thank you, God. And so it is.
Good morning again. I now get the pleasure of introducing Rob. He's going to speak to us today.
Well, Well, thank you everyone for the opportunity to speak again here today. So this morning's talk is about change and how it's always happening. And whether we like it or not, we're at the minimum, we are aging, we are growing in ways that our environment is at least stimulating us. And sometimes that can lead to a compulsive reaction. So we're, with meditation, we learn how to consciously shape our right now moment and how we're changing, in what direction we're choosing. And so another thing about change is money, right? Money used to be based on gold and tangible worth and benefit, right? And now it resembles monopoly. Same colors, even Monopoly came up with those colors before we did, or before the US currency did, but it's kind of representing a fiat currency that they print just like any publisher for a game. But that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how we change our clocks twice a year and why do we do that still, all right? Okay, no, we're not going to really talk about that either. But that's another type of change that we're experiencing in our life every year. Twice a year, we're changing clocks, right? And I don't want that guy's job because that's probably a really, really tall ladder. So at one time, I was a soul, just one of those little orbs that flies through your camera or your pictures sometimes, right? Because I didn't always hold this body. It was built. My mom did a great job giving me something to use. And this was my first portrait. I learned that there was a place called the testes that I could learn and experience this growth of life and know what it is to be a human being. And so I became a sperm. And I told the other sperms, I said, hey, I know what's going on here. Just wait right here. I'll be right back for you. I didn't show up. I found the egg. And then my mom delivered me into this world and I started eating things and I started growing and I turned that little sperm into a larger body, a ruffian of sorts, playing with the snake that I started out as. That sperm, it almost looks like a snake as we're swimming to our destinations. Right? And then I had an awakening experience and I realized that I had become attached to who I thought I was. There's an ego impression and I'm Robert Leeming and I'm a plumber and I'm a construction worker and I'm this and I'm that and I'm this. And now I've been learning to disassociate who I think I am with who I really am and who you are. You know, we're using these bodies to be able to communicate and participate in this physical experience, but we're going to hand it back someday. And it should be as effortlessly as we let go of our breath, that we can let this body go back to the earth in which we borrowed it from. My ego self had been shaped by television programming. And I started asking why. Why am I inside of a box? Why am I limiting myself to these boundaries? And then I realized that the universe is encompassing whatever I want to build. And so I started asking why, and I started growing in different ways. And the old self, I used to help people. I know this is a total picture, but that's a very big, beautiful home, probably 7,000 to 8,000 square feet, 7 to 8 bathrooms, probably a couple kitchens and laundries. And I've helped build several of these homes for people to create their happiness, to create their abundance and sustainability. And people like change, and so even after we build a big old house like that, we show up a couple of years later and we turn the kitchen from that into that because trends change and we want to lighten it up. But then trends change again, so we're back 6 years later and we're turning it back to the way it was. And this is what the culture that we live in is called sustainable housing. We've been able to help people achieve shelter and community, all for an expense. And, most of these places, maybe they're only 600, maybe they're 1,000. Some cities in America and across the world, thousands of dollars for a small space to be able to exist. It's led to struggle. It's led to depression and anxiety. But there are other ways. Because right now we have homeless and hungry people, but we have other people living really, really fantastic lives, however they want to live. And that's possible for everyone, everywhere, when we just support different things and what we call sustainability and what we call things that make sense. And so we ask why, we ask how do we fix this? What are the solutions to the problems we face? And all of the answers are there when we look. And so I started looking, I started spending a lot of time, I devoted my time to recognizing problems and searching out the solutions and finding how can we do this? The Dalai Lama, when asked what surprised him most about humanity, he answered, man sacrifices his health in order to make money, and then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he's so anxious about the future that he doesn't enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he's never going to die, and then dies, having never really lived. When we're in that right now moment, regularly, we're shaping our life and we're able to experience the simplicity of what it is. What we have in this life experience is competing operating systems in this biological supercomputer we call the body-mind. We have ego or soul. Soul is the original operating hardware. Ego is kind of like a malware that can get pushed in on us and ideas, and it can shape us if we allow it. Change fear into love by trusting in this divinely designed life experience at Classroom Earth. You too are divinely designed and hold capacity to operate from this awareness while appreciating the present right now offers. So we can move from struggle, just trying to survive. Seems like we're pushing that big rock uphill. Sometimes in life, it's like a never-ending battle, because then the bills just come back again next month. We work our butts off, we get them paid off, but then they just come again. But there's ways that when we look at how simple it was when we were a child, how easy it was to be happy, we can relax and we can just float, we can thrive. Mark Twain says, I never let schooling interfere with my education. And that was something that I wish I would have recognized the importance of that when I first read it. I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade, and I think I would have only completed the 7th grade. I said, I got this. We're living in the information age. These books are available everywhere. Mentors, teachers, people already leading by example. We just need to follow that example. We've had a lot of teachers come, a lot of messengers, but maybe we haven't gotten the message yet of how simple and abundant and sustainable our lives can be. It's not a great picture. If it was bigger, you would be able to see that there are tires that have been filled full of dirt on the sides. This is an earth ship. And all the glass is recycled glass, bottles that people are throwing away. But somebody else said, I'm not going to let those go to the dump. And I put them, and they stacked them up, and they put concrete in between them, and they turned them into a home. And there's a whole community of homes up by Taos, New Mexico, that are like this. They're built completely earth integrated. They stabilize temperature. They reuse their water. They use passive solar to heat, to cool, to grow. It's really, really fantastic, sustainable, and you can actually be paid to build your own home. I've used almost 2,000 tires on projects at my place. And they pay to take them because it's a burden, it's a liability to others, where it's an asset when we put them in a different way. Another, it's an earth ship in Taos, New Mexico, built out of tires and glass, concrete and rock. The Flintstones showed us how simple, no mortgage for pebbles, just handed over the house that great grandpa Fred Flintstone built, and it never burned. I wish these were a little bit bigger, or maybe I can get better at doing this. This is a picture of my property from 2005, which was basically just a product of erosion still. The water would come through the property and just wash past, taking my silt and soil and delivering it to the people down below in abundance they would have rather not had. Flooding sometimes. So I reshaped it, and this is not a good picture again, but it's all terraced and it diverts and spreads out the water. It's creating a sustainable, healthy environment that I'm growing raspberries and blackberries and goji berries and tons of food now, where only sagebrush and bunch grasses were growing in the past. But that's because I learned options. I learned how to change what I do to change what I experience. Another earth integrated home. I didn't like the vehicles that were being available from the aftermarket or from the manufacturers, and so I built my own. I realized that when we give love into our environment, we're reflected back love. The universe is a mirror. It's teaching us all the time if we're open to it. Balance. The flower of life pattern. I know it's probably hard to see in the back, but hopefully. And sometimes just a little bit of extra paint that you have when you're doing a project can turn into something that's inspiring. So this is on the corner of my shop. It says, "Don't worry, be happy, and smile." And it's just a little reminder that trust. When we trust, we don't worry. We should be happy. And a puppy, because everybody loves puppies. We've talked about this before. We're each a piece of the puzzle, and we all bring a unique perspective of life and what we're experiencing here. And when we're working all together, we create a web of community, and we can soar like the hawk effortlessly. The hawk with only small manipulations of what they do. They can just sit in the sky, an aerial view, soaring above it all. That's a picture of Little Red Riding Hood holding a gun because the wolf would have not bothered her if she was capable of defending herself. And I'm actually going somewhere with this because my change has been a result of awarenesses that I've become aware of, and fasting helped to cleanse away my old and allow for new to come. And so several years ago, I was really diving into fasting and recognizing some of its benefits, and a lot of clarity was coming to me and through me, and I decided to sit down one day and start writing some stuff. I hadn't written any poetry since I was, tasked to do it in the English class back in high school. And basically, I wrote this just as fast as I could. It was just streaming through me, basically. So I'd like to share this. There's two of them. One of them is called "No Rulers, so we can know peace." I pledge allegiance to humanity. We are one, you will see. A beautiful tomorrow is what's in store. Give me a few minutes, I'll tell you more. Everyone, everywhere, look to love and don't despair. Apocalypse is not an ending, just a beginning created by understanding. Do we come together or do we fall? The fear we hold separates us all. You own yourself and no one more. If they don't like it, there's the door. Voting is like two wolves and one sheep. Who is for dinner? Cried little Bo Peep. Under her keep, she carried a gun. When the wolves realize this, they take off and run. When enforced by violence instead of persuasion, tyranny reigns in our great nation. Outwardly looking for someone to rule, evil gaining reign can get real cruel. Allowing this, we are a fool. Although it seems like it's getting real, it's all part of the deal. The Vatican controls enormous wealth, yet God's children are homeless and very poor health. For too long, we have been shown that greed is real and it is known. No victim, no crime, no time is natural law. Corporations make us all ignorant outlaw. Arresting those who break the law, showing us our greatest flaw. 1 out of 99 adults in prison, yet not an echoed voice has risen. Victimless laws that a congressman wrote because someone lobbying bought him a vote. It's time to remove all those that have lied. If you think for a minute, this should not be denied. If you've acted corrupt in any way, you are not representing those who pay. Taxes are theft, enforced with violence. Eric Garner is proof we should not be silenced. Owning ourselves and respecting another, we build a world we live in as sister and brother. When someone is hurt and crying in need, it's hard to hear over ignorant greed. The methods they rule are based on fraud. We as humanity should align with God. Principle of non-aggression is what we all seek. And so in defense, we protect the meek. Oathkeeper is one name in the army of we. All colors, all tribes, we build humanity. One world aligned with God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. No rulers, no peace. And then the next day, I sat down again and it was just flowing through me. And this one I called Real Eyes. We realize the real lives. Monday through Saturday, living in sin. Then Sunday comes and praying to him. We talk with Jesus, how his word should be law. With the blood from his veins, he paid for us all. You are the light of this world, he said to this town. Love and laughter help to remove the frowns. Also innocent these words to live by, yet so difficult when surrounded by lies. They question him like lawyers to thieves. The claims this man makes are hard to believe. Persecution and nails until he was dead. The pathway he led to be covered in red. Upon the crucifix, presented to all, cowards and hypocrites, watching in awe. He died knowing the love in his heart would replace the pain slowly as his soul depart. Love and compassion are the words of God. The amount of sorrow, it seems so odd. If you sit in the pews with the game on rewind, the thoughts of salvation will enter your mind. Your 10% or maybe more, hoping not to make God roar. Killing another in God's name is only an attempt to shift the blame. The commandments tell us thou shalt not kill, but our choices are based on man's free will. The Vatican controls enormous wealth, yet God's children are homeless and very poor health. Reaching out to those in need, protecting all from who live in greed. Animals in nature ask nothing of you, trusting in God that nothing's askew. The mark of the beast is at our door. Do you choose love or hate, or fear, or simply ignore? Fixing the world is a task for us all. All of the answers are in some movies I saw. And I ask of you while you sit there, are you the best you? Or do you care? That last part hit me really, really hard because I wasn't being the highest version of myself in my life. But I look back and I realize that I experienced certain polarities so that I can gain knowledge, and I can learn forgiveness of myself, and I can learn forgiveness of other people, and I can learn how whatever we've experienced, when viewed from the right perspective, can create growth. So through fasting, I found revelation. And through the revelation of who we are and what we're here to do and what we're here to experience with each other, I found this simplicity. I found how simple life can be and how little we actually need and how easy wants are to accomplish when we put our time and energy and our motivation in that direction. And so I hope that with what I've learned and what I've shared today, we can recognize that change is always happening. And when we do it consciously, based from that right now moment, focused in love and connection to each other and to all that is, we all step into a beautiful new tomorrow. Thank you.
Fast for.
When I was writing this, the first one came to me on the 4th day, and the other one came to me on the 5th day, and that was no food and no water. It was the most fasting I had ever done, and it was it opened things that I hadn't experienced before.
So 5 consecutive days or
5 consecutive.
no food,
And
no
then-
water?
Correct. So, modern science says you can't live more than 3 days without water. That's wrong. There's a lot that we've been shown that has limited our being. And there's friends of mine that have fasted for much longer than that and very enlightened. I mean, they're just really expressing what I can explain. I can't explain other than what God is wanting to come through a person is what they're expressing. And right now he's one of my friends is planning on the whole month of June. I think he'll be including water, but no food for 30 days. And
My daughter did that 30 days.
yeah, it's very powerful. It's very cleansing. I lost 20 pounds in a month. And it was I lost physical weight, but I also lost the emotional baggage of what I was holding on to in the past. And, in the Bible, it talks about when we fast, not if we fast. And that's how we cleanse our vessel, we cleanse our temple, and we help to we get to be who we want to be when we're conscious and aware of it.
Fast now?
I do regularly. I to maintain a grounded essence, I do what's referred to as intermittent fasting. And so I'll usually only consume in like a 2 to 3 hour window per day. And so there's a good 20 hours or 22 hours between meals regularly. And for me, it's just I've never been this trim and in shape. And I was consuming more than I needed. And when I started getting down to my needs, then all of my wants started to flourish as well. So focusing on what I could control.
Do you consider meditation and exercise?
Yes. Yeah, my exercise also is grounding because I'm typically working with the land. And so I wore shoes because I'm coming up in front of you today, but a lot of times I'm barefoot and, in the dirt and then, bare hands into the dirt. It's, there was actually a book study, as before I came to Unity, there's a book called Earthing. And earthing has great scientific backing even for healing many diseases. You know, it's helping us to release those free radicals that cause cancer and ailment in our body. And it's because most of the time we're so insulated from our environment that we're like an antenna. You've had a radio signal that wasn't coming in strong enough, and we grab onto it and it comes in. Well, you don't want to hold it the whole time, but that shows that we are absorbing energy from our environment. And when we grab onto that antenna, it's being grounded, so it's being released into a usable energy form. When we are insulated from our environment, we are accepting that energy, but we're not releasing it. And so when we can release that energy, we're more in the flow. And I've learned to align myself with nature the best I can figure. And rubber soled shoes, I don't think the caveman was experiencing that, but he may have been experiencing a higher level of consciousness that connected him to his environment. And he was able to gather from the source rather than the stores. And, you know, phonetically, source and stores, it sounds a lot alike. So it does seem normal for us. But that's one of the things I've learned. And meditation, I learned meditation from a happy monk. And I used to be a very anxious person. I used to get depressed. I used to allow myself to be in the past or in the present or in the future, but rarely in the present. And the monk told me about a 1 second meditation. I said, how is that going to help anybody? And he said, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Every 1 second that you can be meditative, you can be aware of what you're doing with your breath and your mind and your body, you're being meditative, and you can take that into as much as you want in every one of your waking minutes. And then we start to recognize that our waking minutes can even be a lot longer than what we're currently used to. Because when we're aware of that right now moment at the time our body goes to sleep, our mind can then explore more than we can ever imagine. Yeah. Just divine intervention. It wasn't a personal interaction with that happy monk, but it was you know, just through the universe, and through, in that instance, was on YouTube. And, yeah, YouTube University has been great. It brings mentors from all over the world into a platform that we can just push a button and sit there in the comfort of our home, our vehicle, anywhere we're at, and we can learn from some of the greatest mentors in the world for free. Are there any other questions? Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, you're not? Okay. All right.
Are you grounding, Michael? Yeah. Earthing?
So on this one, we're going to do it a little bit different today. We're going to sing the first verse 2 times and then the second verse 2 times in a row.
You are the face of You are my family. You are the face of love.
Okay, time for announcements. Our first announcement is we have 2 meditations every week. One Thursday night at, Tuesday night. That was a test to see if you were listening. Tuesday night at 7 and Wednesday morning at 10. And I generally remember the 7 o'clock one about 7:45. Wednesday morning, the book study is also going on. And this week they're reading Be Here Now by Ram Dass. Opportunities to give our severance package to Reverend Ron. We owe him $8,250. And this is not money for moving. We've already paid him everything we owe him for moving. This is money that we are contractually obligated if he ever jumps through all the hoops. So, and we have we have 1919 earmarked for severance pay. So we need to be thinking about that. Also, we started a long time ago thinking about redoing the men's restroom downstairs, and we asked the men what they would like, and they would like a full-time attendant. And they would like warm washcloths and nice fluffy dry towels, and we told them they could have a new toilet. Leslie's also looking at the possibility of having a glass recycling pickup here at Unity. And they'd have to be washed and the labels taken off, and they'd be picked up once a week. So if you'd like more information, get a hold of Leslie or Leslie.
Yeah, it's not quite accurate. What would happen was that the folks that are doing this are volunteer organizations, and they come around to wherever they're gonna pick up the glass once a month, not once a week. And so my thought was that if you are interested and you would like to bring glass bottles that you've cleaned and removed all the glue and the gunk and the plastic, all that stuff off of them. If you're interested in participating, you bring them to church on a Sunday and give them to me, then I'll take them home and just pick them up at my house. So that was the idea. If you want to do it, that'd be great. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine too. It's just, I hate to make my glass and my plastic and stuff. This just came up and I thought it was a great thing to do. Yes,
Will they take colored glass?
yes.
Okay.
They didn't specify anything about the glass. What happens with it if you're interested? Well, even if you're not interested, because it goes to Ellensburg, and the people who want to volunteer learn how to crush it, and then they make it into a sand, and then they use it for something. I don't even know exactly what they use it for. They change it into a sand. So, anyway, so if anybody wants to talk to me about it, just let me know if you're interested. And initially you're something, and I'm not going to be what's that?
Okay.
Please, good idea.
Okay, and finally, today, immediately after service, we are stacking up the chairs and we are bringing the stuff up from downstairs. And we have a lot of it. And so in honor of those of us who cannot go up and down those stairs, which I could go down them and up them one time, and that would be about it for me. We're going to do a bucket brigade, and we're going to have people stationed along the way. So if you want the best spot, get there early. And we're just going to pass the stuff up the stairs so that none of us gets beat up, and the load is lighter when we all live together. And then when we're all done bringing the stuff up from downstairs, then we're going to put out the treats. So we'd love for you to stay and join us for treats, as long as you work first.
Oh, I screwed up skipping breakfast.
I thought about once the chairs are stacked, putting out the tables,
Yeah.
so that everything can go directly on the tables.
That's
And
what
maybe
we
even a
want.
couple people could sort it and have designated tables, and it would cut down on work in the long run.
Janelle?
First, we're gonna stack the chairs and then bring the tables and put them into position, and then there's rounders downstairs for clothes. So we want that done first before we bring the stuff up. You're absolutely correct.
And we're going to be sorting stuff during the week.
All week long.
All week long, because it takes quite a lot of effort to get it sorted and set out nicely, so it's pleasing for our customers when they start arriving.
And many hands make like.
Right, the load is lighter when we all live together, so. They used to do bucket brigades in the old days before they had a fire department. They would bring buckets and they'd have to hurry to get the fire out. We'll pretend that we're on fire up here. Bringing the buckets up.
Which stairs are we using, the back stairs or these, or both?
Probably the front stairs, they're not as steep and they're a little
And they're all
easier.
narrow. There's more room.
Yeah, these?
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else?
Well, and if it's being slowed down, the stronger backs can, use the alternate steps if they want to. So,
And we do have a couple of heavy things down there too, don't we?
well, the rounders are heavy. That's what we really need, strong male backs.
In exchange for that, we'll let you in the food line first. Anything else? Okay, let's move to our affirmations. A prosperity affirmation. Together, I live in a world of plenty, and I have consciousness of abundance. And our vision, a world powerfully transformed through the growth of a shared spiritual awakening. And our mission, we empower individuals to collectively transform the world.
And now it's time for us to celebrate our abundance. Last week we had a board meeting. We went around the table and everybody shared what was on their mind. And did I what?
I was ready to bless it all.
Oh.
I don't really know how many. Two, I think.
Okay, so please join us in our blessing as we continue to affirm abundance through the giving of our tithes and offerings. Divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
I am
Great Spirit, Mother, Father, God, thank you for the flow of giving and receiving that is a part of our wondrous universe. Daily we receive all that is needed and more from the infinite abundance all around us. We pray blessings on these offerings, giving gratitude and joy. Thank you, God. Amen. Okay, we are going to bless the little ones inside of all of us. Are we ready?
We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are.
Prayer of protection. Do we want to stand?
Yes.
Okay. Together. The
The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And now our peace song. Feel comfortable holding hands.
That's why they make hand sanitizer.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was strength to be. With God our Creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Okay.
Thank you, Jan.
Oh, yeah, we should maybe do that right away.
I need a roadie to help me with my sugar. Rob is my roadie today, I guess. Okay.